All right, I'm going to talk about rain gauges, um, and I'm going to talk about my lesson plan too. Uh, my lesson plan video talks about frogs and the life cycle of a frog. We talked about what the students know, what they want to learn, and what they already know. They had a lot of good ideas, and they wanted to know how frogs speak. And we heard some frogs, and they had a really good time, and they enjoyed the lesson, and they learned about the life cycle of a frog. Uh, Most of them had some really good ideas after the lesson was over as well. So they had some good conversations, and I thought the lesson went very well. Got a couple of behavior problems, to be honest, and just thought I would let you know how that went. It went very well. It was a very good lesson. All right, so talk about rain gauges. I want to lead into that before I get to rain gauges. I want to talk about the types of precipitation. We've got rain, sleet, snow, and freezing rain. Rain gauges only measure liquid precipitation, but there's actually a snow gauge that will measure frozen precipitation. So I thought that was very cool. Another good book I wanted to mention just real quick is I Am Water. I've used that story a couple of times in second grade while teaching the states of matter, and I thought you guys might like it. It is a very good story about the stages of water and things like that. And after you read that story, you can talk about the different kind of precipitation, and then you could lead in about how to measure precipitation. So the tips when using the rain gauge, put it in a place where it's not around trees so you can get an accurate amount, and you want to put this rain gauge on a flat surface. If it's a hill, you'll get some runoff, or you'll get some inaccurate information. If it's around trees, some of the precipitation may be more or it may be less depending on what kind of season that you're in. So I would watch out for that. Also, make sure that your rain gauge is empty before the water freezes in it at night. I've done that several times, so I'm speaking by experience on that one. If you don't go outside and take the water out and it falls below 32, you'll have, or 0 degrees Celsius, you'll have some frozen water in there, and that's not what a rain gauge is for. So make sure it's emptied at night as well. The jumbo rain gauges are easier to read. They're got them on Amazon and also Tractor Supply. They're very huge and they're very big. Also at Lowe's today, I saw a thermometer and a rain gauge. So I thought that was very cool to have both instruments on the same thing, and it's a little bit above the ground too. So what is a rain gauge? A rain gauge is an instrument that is used to measure precipitation that falls from the sky. This picture is actually a snow gauge, so I thought that was really cool to share. And does it measure snow? No, it does not. This rain gauge only measures liquid precipitation. A meteorologist will use a snow gauge to measure solid precipitation. 1 inch of liquid equals about 10 inches of snowfall. And I normally use typically a yardstick to measure snowfall, and I normally go in about 3 different places to make sure it's accurate and make sure I get the same amount when it does snow here in Georgia. So just give you some information on that. Collecting, I thought this was a very cool fact. Collecting accurate rainfall amounts during a tropical cyclone is impossible because of extreme weather conditions. You've got the rain and things like that, and sometimes you cannot get an accurate amount. So I thought that was really cool, and I thought I would share it with you. There are many types of rain gauges. There's a bucket gauge. There's a graduate cylinder gauge. That is very inexpensive. There's a weighing gauges, the tipping bucket gauge, and there's a simple buried pit collector that you can buy too. So again, that is the end of my presentation about rain gauges, and my talk about my lesson plan as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.